Welcome to the Fantasy Thinker. I'm Jared, and today it is time for the Comics versus Prose number 14. Today we are, of course, we have our novel Assassin's Apprentice by Robin Hobb, and we are comparing it to Assassin's Apprentice 3, the third volume, number 2 from Dark Horse Comics. Once again, written by Robin Hobb and Jody Houser. Beautiful artwork by Ryan Kelly, and colors by Jordie Bellaire, letters by Hassan Otsmane-Elhaou, I think, and cover art by Anna Steinbauer. And so, getting right into this, this is episode 14, and where we last left off, we pretty much had finished with chapter 17, I believe. Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yes, and so in the last issue pretty much covered all of chapter 17. This issue covers a lot of chapter 18, but not the whole thing. In chapter 18 in the book, we get a little epigraph of about some history of Shade. Shade Fallstar is his name. I didn't know that before. I didn't know his last name. So his mentor, who teaches him how to be an assassin, Shade. We get some information about him. We get some a little backstory. We get a little bit of story about what he's been up to while Fitz has been off on his adventures, trying to train to use the skill, and having a bad time with that. And I need to get my glasses. All right, because I'm old. Or almost. So anyways, we have this particular issue has a lot of text, a lot of text taken straight from the book, and it's a lot. Like there's a lot of word balloons, a lot of exposition, and it really takes a lot from the word for word from the novel. There's not much not covered in this chapter, and it's kind of strange because for an adaptation, it's kind of strange for an adaptation in general to do that. To take so much word for word and put it down on paper, and most adaptations, they're just trying to get the essence of the work and do their own interpretation of it. This one, mostly, probably because Robin Hobb is so involved, maybe, but this one really just takes it exact, and but they managed to pull it off mainly through just a fantastic artwork once again of Ryan Kelly, who I can't say enough about. So, the let's see here. I had something starred here right on the first page of the chapter, and right to take whatever they want from our seaports. This is page 1 in the comic. See, interesting, right? In the book, it says the seaport, the Red Ship Raiders, they take grain, cattle, the right to take whatever they wish from our seaports. And in the comic, it says their grain, cattle, their choice of goods from our seaports. So I'm kind of interested about what was behind the decision to change that bit of exposition there, that bit of information about the story. And on page 2, we have an excellent shot of the description in the book is just telling us what Fitz looks like, but the artwork is showing us. His face looks sourly, and I like how they show that, and he says this sarcastically. So I think that's a pretty good representation of those looks on somebody's face when they're speaking in such a manner. So, once again, the artwork is stellar, and it just really goes through, and this is like the closest issue we've had so far of um, you know, exact translation. And so let's see here. And I did. Let's see. Yeah. So in the book here, let's see. I got 1, 2, 3, on page 4 in the comic. In the book, Fitz is telling him about the person who tried to murder Burek, and so in the book, it only says, "I'll tell you all that I know about the attack of Burek." Not dialogues repeated, and then it says, "And I did," in the book. Whereas in the comic, there's actually a lot more. The comic actually says, "And so I told him every detail of what I witnessed through Smithy's eyes. Only I neglected to mention how I knew, instead implying a frightened servant had seen the attack before fleeing in terror." And that's interesting that they felt the need to explain all that in the comic, where they already had a very, very text heavy book going on here. So once again, I wonder what the decision is behind that. Um, there is, let's see, on page 6, we get a 5, 6, no, page 7, we get a picture of the Elderlings. And we get a picture of an Elderling as a sort of gilded bird with a man-like head crowned with quillish hair. And this is a paper that Fitz is looking through in Shade's study. And so rather than a description, we actually get a actual drawing of what an Elderling may look like. So that was pretty cool. And all right, so the we move on to page. Let's see, that was page 7. Move on to page 8. We have right on to page 9. Now, interesting enough, page 9 and 10 are kind of opposite of how it's told in the book. The events of page 10 in the comic kind of happen like it starts with page 9 here, and then the events of page 10 are told, and then the rest of the events on page 9 are told at the bottom and then the top of the next page. And they probably mixed that up on purpose, because when an artist is trying to plan out their panels and how they're going to convey the story through their artwork, sometimes getting it straight as the book is going is not going to work with panel layout and stuff like that. And so the artist and the scripter of the comic have to kind of work things so that they can get the scenes they want in with the proper panel layouts in order to convey the story better in this art form. So that was very cool how they did that. There wasn't any kind of change in the story, any kind of glitch in the story. They just suited it better for the medium, and I really like how they did that. So on page 11 was, man, like I said, it's pretty much straight from the book. It's just very good. We get a good we get a picture of Verity here, and he does not look good. And I like how the artwork on page 12 kind of conveyed that as we see Verity. He's kind of not looking all that great there, and the description in the book kind of fits that picture, and it was done once again very well. We get a move on here. Let's see. We get, he, yeah, like I said, word for word. There's really, it's kind of strange that there's not much to talk about because of how close it is in the book. I can't get over that. It's really, really, really there. And so the next instance that's that where the comic I think has a little advantage over the book is of course the showing of magic and the showing of the skill. Would they get to have their fun with the coloring and the little whatever those symbols are for magic and the colors that they use in order to bring them out. And so the Yeah, and there was another actually neat instance here. The description of the blanket on Verity was beautifully conveyed in the artwork there, just to show what this guy's been through and how tired he is of doing all this work. He's, he's trying to keep the Red Ship Raiders away through his magic, and so I really like, yes, and I really like how the artwork portrays the magic between them. We get a little bit of history about Galen and the queen, the former queen, I think. Anyways, and chivalry and their history, Queen Desire, yeah. And so we get a little bit of history about them, and when Verity's explaining this history, of course, we get our history coloring going on there. That sepia tone coloring representing something that happened in the past. And I always like how they do that. And let's see here. We also have, yep, once again, very, very precise, very by the book, really by the book. So if you're not familiar with, I hope if you're watching this, you're very familiar with the book. But so you're very familiar with the story if you've read this book. But we find out, of course, Fitzchivalry Farseer is the boy's name. Verity insists that he use this name, and it's at this point we get to find that out. Now, interestingly enough, we still didn't finish the chapter in the book when this ends. This ends right where he tells him his name, and we still have, wow, 7 pages left. Go figure. In chapter 18. So, once again, I am forced to stop in the middle of a chapter in order to line up with the comics coming out. So there is, let's see, page 335 in this copy, and there's about 435. Yeah, so I got 100 pages left, and these guys have 4 issues left to tell those 100 pages. So we're looking at an average of 25 novel pages per issue, and that pretty much lines up. They're going to take, this is basically the 14th issue 14th, even though they broke it up into different segments. So they are going to take 18 issues to tell the story of this single novel. That would And that would be, of course, when they break it up, it'll be 3 graphic novels to 1 regular novel. It's just interesting. The thing is, they could have kind of cheaped out a little bit, and told the story in a much quicker way in the comics than they have. But I am so glad they didn't, because I really, really am enjoying this adaptation. I'm enjoying this comparison. As you guys know, I'm reading the comic first before I go into the book, and I am so glad I did it that way, because it really, really allows me to see what they've done, see the quality of the adaptation, and of course it's almost like rereading the book, so I'm getting a lot out of it. This is a book I'm not going to forget anytime soon because of that. So it's really great that way. All right, so 4 more issues to go, and I hope those of you who have stuck with me this far. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for watching, and be good to each other.